except for Halloween, but why would we have to celebrate the 4th of July? Now, it's not wrong, these things. But what I'm saying is that it's not taught or told, or God never told us to participate in these things, okay? And yet we do it. But why don't we do what God teaches us what to do? Two of the biggest celebration or festival in the Christian calendar is coming up. One of them is called Easter. Think about Easter. When you think about Easter, maybe you think about this, right? And think about how biblical can that be. I know when I was growing up in Indonesia as a child, when I think of Easter, I think right away about chasing eggs, looking for eggs, the egg hunt. I got excited about it. My parents would, the day before, we would color these eggs, okay? We would paint them with those water paint, and then we go to sleep, and then I know that my parents would be hiding those eggs somewhere in the house, in the garden, and so on. So in the morning when I wake up, we were looking, my sister and I would be looking all over the house, in the garden, looking for those colored eggs. But all you have to do is just do a little Googling. Just Google and put down origin of Easter. And you will see how paganistic and how, it is a very secular tradition, origin. And I can't even put the pictures in the screen because most of the pictures, even though they're all statues, like I'm talking about the historical, are all naked statues. But here's this one statement. Ishtar, which is pronounced Easter, of the Assyria, was worshipped in pagan antiquity during her special festival. Ishtar is the goddess of love and war, the most important goddess of the pantheon there. Her name is Sumeria in Enan and Lady of Heaven. She was sister of sun god Shamash and daughter of the moon god Sin. Ishtar or Easter was equated with the planet Venus. And I don't know if you know this, but the planet Venus is Lucifer is related to Venus in the Bible. Because Venus, because Lucifer is supposed to be the bearer of light, and then if you remember in the Old Testament, Lucifer was considered is called the morning star, because Venus is the brightest planet in our planetary system, and so you see the connection here. And I want to show you another picture here, another statement here from another Googling. The word Easter evidently comes from Ostara, the Scandinavian goddess of spring. She was the symbol of the resurrection of all nature and was worshipped in early spring. Eggs were symbolical from early time. It was custom with the pagan Norsemen at that time to exchange colored eggs called the eggs of Ostara. These have now become Easter eggs. So this is just a few that I Google, and there's so many. Like I said, some of them are so gross. They say that women give up their virginity to become prostitute temples during these festivals. This is Easter, church, that we celebrate. Do you know that? And yet we do it year after year. We call it Easter. Now, please understand, I'm not right away trying to throw it out and that kind of stuff, but I just want the church to go back to this word. What is it God teaches us? The Bible never teaches us about Easter, to celebrate this thing called Easter. But it does teach us about Passover. And we're going to talk about it today that hopefully will teach us what it means and how it applies to us and how it's going to enrich us if we truly understand what God taught, thousands of years ago, and what He taught His people to do annually, so that we remember what it really truly means. Think about another festival that we celebrate, right? Christmas. Christmas has nothing to do with the Bible, okay? And we talk about burdens. Did you know, I saw in the news, statistically, an average American spends $800 a year on gifts on Christmas time. The average, okay? That's a burden, don't you think? You got to spend $800. You got to travel to go home. You're going to gain weight over the week, over that holidays. You're going to try to lose it again. You fight for a parking spot. I mean, the retailers love it, of course, right? But again, what I'm trying to say to this church is this. If we're willing to do all these things, fighting for parking spots, think about how many trees we kill for gift wraps every year during Christmas for something that is not taught in the Bible, but we do it religiously every year. But the very thing God taught us, we neglect because we think, oh, it's an Old Testament thing. Oh, it's a Jewish thing. No, church. It's a God thing. And I want to bring you this, and hopefully this will bring you some understanding. So let's go, let's read about the Passover, the instruction for Passover. And it's a little bit lengthy. It's from Exodus chapter 12. There's a portion of it. But maybe this is the first time for you to read it, but just follow with me in the scripture here. Now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be your beginning of months. Okay, so this is the first month of the year, which is Nisan. It shall be the first month, it says, of the year to you. Speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, on the 10th of this month, every man shall take for himself a lamb according to the house of his father, a lamb for a household. Okay, so it's Nisan 10, okay, the 10th of Nisan. Okay, so it's like January 10 for our term. Okay, so the 10th of Nisan, every man is supposed to take a lamb. Now it says here, and if the household is too small for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to his house take it according to the number of the persons. According to each man's need, you shall make your count for the lamb. In other words, most of us here have small families, not like in those days. But so if our family is too small for one lamb, we kind of like pool together. Hey, maybe 3 families or 4 families for one lamb, okay? Now, but if some of you have big families and you have mostly boys, and they eat a lot, maybe one lamb is good for you. But maybe for this church, next year, if we want to do this, let's bring one lamb, okay? But for everybody, then we can have a wonderful satay kambing, okay? So the next one, it says here goes the requirement. Your lamb shall be without blemish. That's number 1. Number 2, a male, and number 2. And number 3 is of the first year. So basically, it's 1 year old without blemish, and it's a male. You may take it from the sheep or the goats. Now you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. So in other words, you take it on the 10th of Nisan, but then you keep it for 4 days until the 14th of Nisan. Okay? Then the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it at twilight. Okay, so at twilight they kill the lamb, and they shall take some of the blood and then put it on the doorposts and on the lintel of the houses where they eat it. Then they shall eat the flesh of the night on that night, roasted in the fire, with unleavened bread, with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Do not eat it raw, nor boil it at all with water, but roast it in the fire, its head with its legs and its entrail. Okay? So I think for us as Indonesian, we should be happy with Passover because this is talking about satay kambing here. Okay? So we should really enjoy it. And we said, yeah, we should do this. Okay? Okay, let's go on. You shall let none of it remain until morning. What remains of it until morning you shall burn it with fire, and thus you shall eat it. With belt on your waist, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hands. So you shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. Okay, so they have to eat it quickly. They have to eat it with their belt and their staff and get ready because you know that the next day they're going to exodus, or they're going to start their exodus, get out of Egypt. For I will pass through the land of Egypt on that night, and will strike all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. And finally this word says, now the blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be on you to destroy you when I strike the land of Egypt. So this day shall be you as a memorial, and you shall keep it as a feast of the Lord throughout your generation. You shall keep it as a feast, as an everlasting ordinance. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On the first day you shall remove leaven from your houses. For whoever eats leavened bread and the first day until the 7th day, that person shall be cut off from Israel. But I want you to pay attention here, something I'm circling here. Look what it says there. You shall keep it as a feast of the Lord throughout your generations. You shall keep it as a feast by an everlasting ordinance. I told you before. It's an ongoing thing. It should not stop. Okay? This is a feast of God, an ordinance, something that we need to remember over and over and over. It doesn't stop. Okay? And then this is, and the second festival is actually the bottom part here. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On the first day you shall remove the leaven. That's why the second festival is called the Festival of Unleavened Bread. And so Passover and unleavened bread is often considered as one, but really it's two. But today we're just going to focus on the Passover so that next week, next Saturday, you are all prepared to understand when Pastor Jeff will come here and we will observe what is a Seder Passover Seder meal or Passover Seder a celebration, but it's look like that. Okay, there's lamb, there's herbs, there's egg, and each of those things has a symbol. Okay, it symbolizes something, and usually there's 4 cups of wine. So those of you who enjoy wine will enjoy Seder's meal. Okay, but let's focus right now on the Passover. What is the significance of Passover?